I feel quite connected to the city because I was raised here. I was born in Delhi, but I was raised in Gurgaon. My parents and I moved to Gurgaon when I was 5 years old. So, because of all the amazing friends that I have here, and I'm familiar, and I'm the kind of person who likes to be familiar with whatever I'm doing or whatever place that I'm in. I'm not very used to change. So, if you just say Gurgaon, I feel very connected. It feels like home. But if I think from the perspective of being a woman, and in that sense, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is that it's not as safe, and that and because I have lived in Bombay and I have seen how life is for women in cities like Goa and Bombay, it's much safer there, and it is. And the freedom that I felt when I was in Bombay, and I was in Bombay for a very brief period. I was just there for just 4 months. So the freedom that I felt there, and it was liberating to be able to go out late in the night, to be able to talk to strangers sometimes, just passing by, and to see that at this one time in Bombay, I was waiting for my auto ride, and this random guy was standing next to me, and something fell, so he actually helped me pick the bag, and he called an auto for me, and I did not get creeped out by that. But if that happens to me in Gurgaon, and if a random person does that, as genuine as it may be, I will still be a little. I will have my inhibitions, and I will, be a little scared, a little creeped out. So in that sense, I think of course I do know and I do understand that Gurgaon is not the safest for women, but I still feel a certain kind of connection, and this is my city, and I feel warm, and I feel like it's my own. It's not that I'm proud of it, because of course whatever XYZ that whatever XYZ has happened, and I know that it happens on a daily basis, and I am privileged enough to be away from a lot of things that happen, because I have a home, and I have that kind of security, and I have access to say something as basic as private transport, so I don't really have to, and I have friends, and I have people that I can come back home late in the night with, and my parents trust me, but there are other people as well living in the city who don't have access to a lot of the things that make you feel safe. So I'm not going to say that I'm proud of the city that I'm in, it's just the familiarity factor that makes me like it. I was at the metro station, Huda City Center, and I was coming back from college, and this person was behind me, and he wasn't really following me because I had just come out of the station, so I couldn't really tell whether he was following me or not, and I was walking back home, and I live right opposite the metro station. It's like a 5-minute walk, 2-3 minute walk. So he was right behind me, and I suddenly felt a touch on my butt, and I was quite uncomfortable, and I turned, and I could see that he did disappear. Thankfully he did disappear, because when I turned I could see that it was him who did it. So then he crossed me, and he saw me look at him, but he crossed me, and then when he went ahead of me, I stopped him and I said, "How dare you?" And I confronted him, and I said, he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "What did you just do? You know what you did." And it seemed like he was under some kind of influence. He was maybe drunk or something, I don't know. And then I confronted him, and I said that I could, and I also tried to slap him if I'm not wrong, but obviously he took a step back, so I couldn't. And I told him that this is not cool, and how dare you, and this and that. And then he started apologizing, and I just walked away. So while I was going back home, he then started following me because of whatever XYZ guilt he had, and I could see that he's following me, and I stopped. I did not want him to know where I stay, so I stopped a few steps before my gate, and I looked back and I said, "Why are you following me? I could call the police right now and get you arrested for this, because this is not cool." And then he started apologizing, saying, "No, I understand what I did, and I'm not feeling too great, and I'm really sorry." And I think I also called him a bastard when he did what he did. So he said, "You called me this, and I'm not happy about that. I'm really sorry." And I was like, "That's not my problem if you're not happy with me calling you out for something that you did." And his apology may have been genuine, but I was really scared at that moment, and I remember going back home and crying. Um,
What
so
kind of a person was this?
this was a random person coming out of the metro station. So it was, I think it was a working person, somebody who worked at some random normal office.
So this is not like a laborer or
No, not
this
like
is Jat or something.
No. Not that kind, and yeah, it was just very weird. And so I've never carried a pepper spray, and I'm glad that my friends carried, and but I've never had to use it. But yeah, incidents like these have happened. And in such moments, and it was during the day, so I'm not sure if I would have immediately taken out a pepper spray, and because all of this happens, e-pleasing and stuff happens. It happens in a second, and this has happened with me at a metro station as well in Delhi, and it was so crowded that when I turned, I couldn't even tell who did whatever happened. So in such moments, you can't even guarantee whether you'll be able to take the pepper spray out and actually use it.
Talking about my personal experience, thankfully I am very privileged. I have never faced anything untoward in this city. It has always happened in Delhi. It has always happened at a metro station or at a very crowded place where the person feels like they can get away with it. But at the same time, I feel like since the environment that Apoorva and I have grown up in, where we've come from families that have let us do whatever they want us to do, and obviously at like when we go out for dinners or when we go out to party and we see women, men, everyone in like compromising like clothing or whatever positions like that, they're not completely in the right state of mind. So while that does happen in Gurgaon a lot, I still feel that this city has a lot of resources that like Apoorva said, we have access to, if you know what you're doing, right, we have access to private transport, cabs. Honestly, I have never faced anything untoward in an Uber, Ola or whatever, in any cabs. In fact, if I have been, say, drunk and I have taken a cab back home alone, the person is always ensured that I've gotten home safe. So I've been very lucky in that sense, but of course, when it does come to, like, you can never know, right? You can't blame a specific city. You can never blame the infrastructure because infrastructure is there. There is connectivity. You do have access to whatever you want to, especially in a city like Gurgaon. You have access to healthcare. You have access to transportation. You have access to, the city is very well connected. So like, I don't know what makes the city unsafe. It's just the people. It's just one person, in fact. It's not even the entire community or there's a culture.
So why are you carrying pepper spray?
That's for my own safety. So like I said, when I've gone out of Gurgaon and I've gone to Delhi, so I attended Delhi University for 3 years. And I saw a man, this was like at Patel Chest, which is a place, a market in North Campus where students go, hundreds of students are there at a single point in time. They go there to get photocopies done, go to cyber cafes to get photocopies of their readings or whatever. And it's right next to Miranda House and Daulat Ram College, two girls' colleges. So walkable distances. So we're there chilling a lot, right? I saw, and there's a police station right there in Patel Chest. I saw a man masturbating on the market, like standing towards the side. I'm sorry I'm using this like language, I don't know if I can, but I saw a man masturbating over there while my friends were walking towards me. I was already at the shop, I was not there, but my friends were walking towards me and the man started masturbating. So we looked at him. He, had no apology in his face. He was clearly again drunk or something. Because this was broad daylight. This was like 10, 11 a.m. Like we just attended our first lecture. And yeah, we went to the police station immediately after that, told the cops. He was still standing there. And he was taken care of. He was arrested for public indecency. But like, since those incidents have happened with me, and not just in public places like this, but in places like the Lotus Temple. Like, I've been sort of looked at because ever since I was a like tiny child, early teens, I've had very long legs because of my genetics. So I would wear shorts and I would get looked at in public places saying, oh, this is not a child, this is a woman. She should be dressing according to, So if anything ever was to happen, I do carry a pepper spray, but I would carry a pepper spray in Goa, I would carry a pepper spray in Mumbai because it's not the city that's unsafe. It's literally that one person that can, make or break your day that you're having. It's not the city. I think we have enough infrastructure. I think we have enough. Because I have been privileged to have an education to make myself aware that okay, I have these resources. If and when I need to escape or when I need to do something, I know who to contact. But I don't think it's the city. I think it's the person who's just.
Why we call Gurgaon unsafe is because a major chunk of people who live in Gurgaon have been brought up a certain way. I won't name the community or that section of the society, but they have been brought up a certain way wherein they feel entitled, they feel like they can do anything and get away with it. And this being the case in our school, I mean, this has nothing to do with gendered violence or violence against women, but a murder happened in our school. Our school was in Gurgaon, is in Gurgaon. A murder happened in our school, and this was an 11th grader who killed an 8th grader or a 3rd grader, I'm not sure. And he did so because he wanted to postpone the exams. And his dad, I think, is or was a judge at the High Court, a lawyer or a judge at the High Court, and he did so because at the back of his mind he knew that he could get away with it. And that's what happened. He wasn't arrested, there was no juvenile sentence, nothing. A bus conductor was blamed for the case. So I think that's the kind of mindset a lot of people in Gurgaon have, mostly men, that they can get away with things because they have those kind of political connections, because they belong to such families who are well connected, and for them carrying guns or
road accidents
or engaging in road rage or committing XYZ crimes, like it's not a huge deal for them. Coming to your question, why we think Gurgaon is unsafe as a city is because majority of the people living here belong to the Jat community, and that is the kind of, at least most of them, that is the kind of upbringing we feel that they have, that they feel they can do anything and get away with it, and they have the right to just live by their own whims and fancies. So I'm not talking about that one person who came out of the metro station and whatever. So it's not that, but just generally that this is the kind of people we think live in Gurgaon, and that's the kind of mindset they have.
I was born here, and the word that I associate with Gurgaon is privilege. Because of the ample opportunities that I've gotten. So when I compare myself to, say, my cousins or my Bodo Didi in Kolkata, who doesn't even live in Kolkata, but she lives in a very small town called Uttorpara, which is right outside Kolkata. So when I compare my life to hers and my elder sisters, I know that I have a much broader perspective on life right now as a woman. Because it's not like she's not well read. She's a Bengali, for crying out loud. She's read all the books there are in the world to read. She's watched all the movies. She's recited as many poems as she could have. She's very well read, but at the same time, the kind of people that I have had the opportunity to interact with in my life, the kind of teachers that I've had the opportunity to interact with in my life, while yes, there is that dominant section in Gurgaon, which is the Jat community, but at the same time there are so many people who have moved here from smaller towns, like you said, and this community has just become so diverse. Like, it's not just one type of, like Punjabis, or it's not just Bengalis, it's not just Marathis, it's a little India in my opinion, because whenever I go, I don't see just one section, I see people from everywhere. So, the kind of food that I've also eaten when I've grown up, the 4 childhood best friends, not school friends, don't get offended, the school friends that I have, one One is actually from Gujarat, one is from Kashmir, and the other is Bengali. So I've in the summer vacation when I used to go to their homes, one lunch would be Kashmiri dum aloo, while the other would be, like some thepla or something from Gujarat that her mom had cooked up, or dhokla or something like that for evening snacks. So, especially at my workplace as well, there are women from Kashmir, there are women from Jhansi who have come to Delhi or come to Gurgaon to work for the first time, and they're first generation women doing that, right? Like they're coming out of their homes, trying to work in a corporate. And I remember there's this one girl, Afreen. So her brother Kaisar, elder brother Kaisar, started working with us 4-5 years ago, and she just joined us last year. So if it wasn't for her brother, she probably wouldn't have even gotten that opportunity to come to Gurgaon and start working and living independently in this chain city. She would just come to everyone and say, Ki, Acha, what if I do really well at work this week? Will you take me out to Cyber Hub to a cafe? Will you take me out to Sector 29 and we'll go dancing? Will you take me out to golf course where I really wanted to check out this place? Because she's never seen that in her life. So I've seen the good and the bad. Not saying that there is no bad, but for me this city, honestly, being raised here, being born here, being like the person who sat at Huda City Centre's first metro ride, seeing Cyber Hub being built in front of my own eyes, as sad as it was that the concrete jungle was getting constructed around me and my cycling routes kept getting shorter and shorter, but I've seen the city progress and I've seen the city develop into, I don't know, it's very futuristic, it's modern. And like if she mentioned that she feels liberated when she goes to Bombay or Goa, I feel liberated now because I've lived in the city with my parents and I'm living in the city independently now.
I mean, I'm not saying that I don't have good things to say about Gurgaon, but I think our experiences also vary because
Yeah.
now she's living alone.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different experience and a completely different ballgame for her. I still associate Gurgaon with privilege only. It's still home for me because I get to go back to my parents' house and live off their earnings. Of course, I'm earning for myself too, but I mostly spend that on just myself. It's not like I'm paying rent to them. So she, of course, because she's living alone now, so she's understanding how it is to actually be a girl living alone in a city like Gurgaon, working, fending for herself, having a house that she's paying rent for. I experienced that in a city like Bombay, wherein I was, earning and paying rent for myself. Gurgaon, again, I associate it with family, with privilege.
So I've been working for 3 years now. My first workplace, there were definitely more men than women. This was pre-pandemic. And now that I've sort of moved offices as well, I've found that the office in itself and the environment has changed a lot. There are more women in the workplace. There are more women at leadership positions. There are, honestly, when I first joined as a fresher, I was afraid to speak up. And when I did speak up, maybe my voice would be suppressed. I don't know if that was because I was making no sense and I was a child, or if I was a woman in a room full of men trying to say something. So now I personally have gotten better at that with like 2 years. This is my 3rd year of working. I've personally learned if someone is trying to talk over me, to tell them to respect my voice, to educate them about listening to my opinions and paying them as much value as they would their male colleagues, because I have faced some of that in the 3 years that I've been
You tell
working.
people outright to.
Yes, I do. I tell them that I'm sharing something and it's worth listening. So I have a perspective and I think it's going to only add value to the discussion. So if you would just let me complete my thought, that's the classic line that I've sort of, scripted in my mind now. If you would just let me complete my thought, I think it would really add value to what we're trying to discuss here. That's exactly what I say to anybody who tries to cut me off now. I think it's made me more popular. I think, me like explicitly calling out my male colleagues in front of everyone in a giant meeting room maybe. I think people have appreciated that more about me, that okay, this girl is not afraid of saying what's on her mind. So they, like my colleagues and my current workplace is actually very wonderful, where everyone sort of helps each other out. So if I see someone who's trying to say something, I will take their name in the meeting. So that's the culture that I'm working with right now, and I am very happy that I've seen so many more women, come up to the front. I've seen them be more comfortable. And I think what the pandemic has brought to the workplace is flexibility. So working from home, paying attention to your children, or like any sort of family problems, while they would be considered excuses before, but now that we've all been through, what we've all been through, I think especially for women, flexibility was a bigger concern before, because everyone would just think that, okay, she wouldn't have time to commit to her professional whatever, to do whatever it is. So now that we take flexibility and we've sort of owned it at the workplace, where coming to office physically every single day is not a requirement anymore, for the organization to be able to trust you to complete your work on time. So that has obviously been a huge help, and I think a factor in welcoming more women into the workplace, and having that option is just really nice. So, since we've been working from home, right, there are no office hours anymore, technically speaking. So if someone is leaving the workplace at 6:30 when they're meant to be leaving their workplace, but that email of the work that was supposed to be done has already been sent in, that's taken as a sign of that's taken as a positive sign now, rather than okay, this person stays late because he's so committed, or whatever it is. But I think we've just learned to value work more than anything else. We not FaceTime. FaceTime is a thing of the past, in my opinion. While I also put in FaceTime, I also stay in late at work, but that's to hustle and complete my projects that I could easily be doing over 2-3 days, trying to fit them all into one day. But that's a personal choice.
I think we've also learned to work smart and not work hard all the time.
What does that mean?
Honestly, this has nothing to do with the pandemic. I've always believed in doing this. Working smart is when, like Bhavya said, you don't really have to work till late or stay in office till late, or work till 11 in the night to show that you are putting your best. You can, if you have the relevant skills and expertise to finish something in 30 minutes or say an hour, or if you can say, as a leader, if you can delegate work properly and get it done, that for me is working smart, because the job is to get to finish whatever you're doing. It's not to show that you worked XYZ number of hours. And while many organizations still associate number of working hours with your productivity and how hardworking you are, I think a lot of organizations also now realize that it's not just about finishing your 9 to 5 shift or your 9 to 6 shift. It's about having your task list and making the most of whatever skills and expertise that you have, and getting the job done, whether it's in 10 hours or 5 hours or 2 hours. So I think it's just about that and not about the number of hours that you're working.
I have never seen a woman abuse any type of mechanism that was put there to help her.
Yeah.
We have internal complaints committees, we have anti-harassment policies, but those are just basic human rights, those are not laws catered to women. Any person has the right to complain. Anyone, if someone is sexually harassing you at work, whether you're a man or a woman, you have the right to point that out. I did notice in my first job that if I did not dress properly, or if I just wanted to wear a hoodie and jeans, for example, and put no makeup on for the day, I would not be taken seriously by some of my male colleagues. Whereas if I would show up to work next day looking very sharp, my winged eyeliners pointed perfectly upright, I would be taken more seriously. So those comments I have definitely, कि अरे क्या पहन के आ गई है ये आंटी बन के क्यों घूम रही है, those things I've definitely heard of at the workplace. But nothing more than this.
I've never had, like Bhavya has had 3 years of office experience in Gurgaon. I've never had that, because it's always been whatever proper jobs that I've done have been work from home, because all of that was once the pandemic set in. Before that, whatever experiences I had were in Bombay only, because I was working in Bombay. So a lot of things are very different in the fashion and film industry, because it's murkier, and it's even stupid things are pretty normalized. So I've had my share of bad experiences there. But in Gurgaon, nothing as such, because I've not had that kind of office experience here yet. I will now start going to office, and my office is going to be in Delhi. So again, that won't be Gurgaon, that will be Delhi. But in Gurgaon, I haven't really heard of anything either.
Yeah, same.
I've never really come across anybody who's been abusive or why this is really like- but I have heard of some cases wherein some of my friends have told me about these men who have been very controlling or very toxic. And again, all of these words are they're understood differently, they're very subjective. So what may be controlling for one person, another woman might just find it, like he's just possessive because he loves me or whatever. So again, this is very varied, but I have of course heard of people. I've had my friends tell me sometimes that this one XYZ relation was very toxic, or this person hit me, or this person did something.
My boyfriend didn't appreciate me going out with my male friends.
Yeah, yeah.
That's one we've heard of.
Yeah. And that my boyfriend was not okay with me being in touch with people that I've been involved with before, or me being in touch with my ex and stuff like that. So these small things that we tend to ignore, but I think these also stem from a certain kind of thinking that men have, that they feel that they can, some kind of chauvinistic approach, and some kind of entitled thinking, that they can actually even say these things out loud. I mean, it's okay to feel jealous and insecure when you're involved with somebody, but to assert that control and say it like that is not okay and not acceptable. And I have come across many such situations. When it comes to friends who are really close to me, I tell them to call the person out and be like, no, this is not acceptable, and this won't fly in the long run, because right now you're saying whatever you're saying, and I might just go with it because I like you enough, and I might just be like, okay, I won't meet these XYZ people, or I won't meet this friend because you feel insecure or whatever. But I have told these people, that I have told these friends that this is not okay, because eventually it is a toxic cycle, because once you accept something, you will have to accept a lot of it later, and that person will just get used to accepting what he's saying or what she's saying. So I may not have taken care of such situations as smartly for myself, or when it comes to telling others and advising others, yes, I have definitely asked them to be very blunt about it, that listen, this is not acceptable, you can't tell me who to meet and where to go and all of that, and it's not cool. I've come across guys, men who belong to very orthodox families, so they have that kind of thinking, and they've come out of that, and they have had very modern ways of looking at things. And I've also come across guys who belong to very well read and educated families who've had to say and say such things and behave in such ways. So I think I lost my train of thought. I think it's not Gurgaon that heightens this. It has a lot to do with the people you're with, your family, the kind of exposure you have, and the kind of upbringing you have, and and how sensitive you are, and how you may be thinking those things. You may feel like you want to control your girlfriend or your partner or the other person, but you should also know where to draw the line. So I don't think it's the city really, but it has a lot to do with the company you're in and your family and your upbringing and stuff.
While I agree with that, I think it is heightened, especially in Gurgaon, because it's not to say that there are more like toxic men in Gurgaon in general. It's just that, like you mentioned, right, there is youth culture here. Predominantly, like a lot of people in Gurgaon, you'll find more bachelors, sort of coming out from Noida, Delhi, closer cities to work here, find jobs. So I think the stress of it all, and as well as the freedom that once you move out of your parents' house and you try to live independently, um, and you go into that dating world. So there are more cases like that in Gurgaon. So I think this city is a hub for that, sort of that culture, that dating culture. While Delhi or Noida might not be, but I think Gurgaon is a hub for that. So
I think Bombay is a
bigger hub.
I consider Bombay to be a more metropolitan slash youth centric city, because I think opportunities there are again different kinds of opportunities. Gurgaon has more corporate centric opportunities, and Bombay is more about films and stuff like that. But I think the dating culture that you're talking about, I think it's all of that is similar.
I do think that because there are so many people living alone here, there is loneliness in the city.
And a lot of the profiles of, because I have seen dating apps, and a lot of the profiles on dating apps, a lot of the profiles actually say this. A lot of people had this in their bio or in some section of the profile which says, I've just moved to Gurgaon, and I'd love to meet more people, and I've just here just for a few days, or here I've just come here for a few months, and I'd love to move around the city and explore new cafes. And I have seen a lot of such profiles say all of these things, that they've moved here for work and this is what they want to do, so they want to meet new people, whether it's for whatever XYZ relation, it may be a friendship or it may be a relationship. But so this is actually a thing. People who come from different cities want to make new friends here, and it is, I think this does exist, that when you're living alone, you want some kind of companionship, and you want to come back from work and have somebody to go to.
What about marriage?
Then are you planning to get married ever? If yes.
Not any.
I'm not planning to get married. I don't believe in the institution. I don't think that love needs legal paper. Maybe there's tax benefits to it, but I haven't read up on that yet. So
You find you can rent a house.
no, I'll be able to rent a house.
So both of you are not thinking of getting married?
Not
anytime
right
soon?
now. I'm pretty. My career plans are pretty haywire right now, so I want to concentrate on that. And I'm not saying that getting married will, be a distraction or anything, but it's just not at the. Also because I don't have a boyfriend. I'm not seeing anybody, so it's not at the top of my head at all.
But why are you against marriage? I mean, I'm not in favor of marriage. I'm pretty neutral about it, because I think some marriages work, some marriages don't.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but what is your point of view against it?
So I've been in relationships, I've been in long-term relationships, I've been in relationships that haven't worked, and I am in a relationship that is working. Hopefully it continues to work. I like marriage in India is not marriage between two people, it's marriage between two families. That's too complicated.
It also kind of puts a tag. So I think we as a generation now are quite. I'm not saying we are commitment phobic, but we want to work according to ourselves, and say if I like somebody, I want to be with the person, and then if the next day I don't, I'm not feeling it as intensely, and I want to get out of the relationship, I want to be able to do that immediately, or do whatever I want to. But I think once you enter that institution of marriage, and when the family is involved, and when there's a society that
societal perception of a married lady is not something that I can ever ascribe myself with. I think Gurgaon has ingrained hustle in me, for sure, because I've had very supportive parents, very supportive people around me, always in my life. So I've never really focused on anything else apart from what my goal was for that year or for that time. I've never really had to worry about anything else that maybe other women might have to, from smaller towns, or women who have not had the same opportunities as me. So I've just been laser focused on whatever my goal for that year was. Maybe it was 100 on maths, now maybe it's a third promotion, so I've just always had those resources, and Gurgaon has provided me with those resources. If I'm starving, I know that, like I can order something at midnight at 3 a.m. If I'm up studying all night, I know that there's a coffee place that will deliver me coffee if I'm too lazy to make one. Or if I go to a chayos at say 11:30, 12 a.m., I will find people, I will find some life in the city.
Yeah.
So that's something that I really appreciate about Gurgaon, and I think it has ingrained that sense of hustle in me because it has given me the opportunity or the platform to just focus on whatever I wanted to do, and not what anybody else wanted me to do, and that's like crediting to my parents that they've raised me that
What
way.
about you?
But yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you mean by hustle?
Hustle is just
Being
not
on
wanting
your
to
toes.
not wanting to stop, being excited about whatever it is you're doing at that moment in time. Like I said, life somewhere or the other in the city. So that sense of feeling like again you're not alone. You're sort of just working towards something. So that sense of accomplishment, it's
I think hustle for me is to constantly have something to look forward to.
yeah.
To always want something, to always want the next best thing, because I don't want to, and I have this kind of goal for myself that no matter where I reach in life, whether it's professionally or whatever, I always want something to look forward to. I don't want to accomplish everything and then be at a standstill, because the hustle is what keeps me going, and that's the kind of lifestyle I like. It is exhausting sometimes because it takes up a lot of your energy, mental energy and physical energy, but I enjoy it. I mean, we are young, so maybe we enjoy it now. I don't know how it will be 10 years down the line, but right now that is what hustle is for me, and that is what hustle is for us. We like to constantly have something to look forward to be on our toes, to have some kind of goal.
Gurgaon gives you that, right?
Yeah.
Gurgaon gives you that glamour. Gurgaon has areas that are like, okay, one day I want to go to the top of that building and just, like own it or whatever. Like it gives you that aspiration. So you're always going. You
Also
want
now
to-
it's kind of become the city that doesn't really sleep, because we have so many places that are open 24/7, and like Bhavya said, at any time in the night or any time at all, you can have coffee, you can meet a person wherever you go. Not wherever you go, but there are certain places, like if you go to those places or go to those marketplaces at any time, there will be people. So you don't feel alone really. You know that there are people your age, who are working, doing the same thing as you, trying to make it big, trying to socialize again, get to know each other. So there is that sense of warmth and
Chehel pehel.
hustle bustle. Digital life has in social media.
Yeah, generally.
In the city depends on it. Like
I think because there's so many young people in the city.
yeah.
I think definitely, and there's so many so-called Instagrammable spots now. There's wherever you go, whichever city you go to, whatever opens, whether it's a museum or a cafe, those things are sold as they call themselves Instagrammable, because everybody's on Instagram and everybody wants to post everything on social media. So more than concentrating on the taste of their food and what they are serving and the service that they're giving you, they just want to make the place look nice, and they want to call it aesthetically pleasing and Instagrammable. So of course, when there are a lot of young people in a city, Gurgaon in this case, social media kind of rules. And I'm a social media addict, so I'm an Instagram addict. So I definitely, whenever I'm going out in Gurgaon or in Delhi, I always, wherever I'm going, whether it's with friends or family, I definitely have my phone in my hand all the time, and I'm looking to capture scenes and post them, or talk about where I am and what I'm doing and stuff like
What
that.
is the exact pleasure that you get out of it?
I don't know, just and the other day, and out of all of us, I'm the one who posts the most, because I'm the most social. And just the other day, one of my friends was also asking me, what do you get out of Instagram? What is that need you feel to tell everybody where you are and what you're doing? So I think
You don't know.
I don't know. I can mostly strike a balance between wanting to be in the moment and enjoy and be with the people that I am with, and also be able to capture all of that and post it simultaneously and then relive it the next day through those pictures. So I feel that I can balance that sometimes, but a lot of times it's also happened that the next day, say if I've attended a concert or an event, or if I've gone to a restaurant, the next day I've loved the pictures that I've taken, and I've loved whatever I've posted on social media. But I've also kind of had this small realization that maybe I should have kept my phone down for a little bit and just been in the moment a little longer. And when it comes to romantic relationships, and when I think a lot of the things that couples do, I haven't done any of this, I'm just talking about what I see. They try to pose a certain way, or capture themselves in a certain against a certain kind of background in some area or something that they've seen happen on social media, and they want to kind of replicate it and show. So I think in that process they lose that actual moment. They lose the fun, just so they can post it, and just so they can flaunt it, and just so they can tell people that they're together and they're enjoying the moment, wherein they're not actually enjoying the moment.
I disagree. Maybe because I'm in a very different relationship.
Yeah, Bhavya's in a very different relationship. And again, I'm just talking about some people
I
that I've
understand.
seen, I'm not generalizing, but I agree with you.
How are you in a different relation, if I may ask?
Yeah, you can.
She doesn't post.
I don't post, first of all. Second of all, I think it's helped me stay connected with my partner much more than I would have been able to if I wasn't on social media. If it's as simple as me having a bad day and him sending me a cute dog picture on Instagram to make my mood better. Just that constant reminder, okay, he's thinking of me, he's trying to make me feel better, even despite not being in the same country right now. So, that's something that's really helped me out in these last couple of years that I've been with him. So, I think social media is definitely, or if I'm having a busy day at work and I don't have time to give him a phone call, or if we haven't met in a couple of days, I can just drop him a message in 2 seconds saying, hey, I know I've been really busy, but I'm so sorry. I promise I'll make it up to you, and leave it at that.
I enjoy it.
I enjoy it, but I am afraid of very, very young kids being exposed to it, because they would not know who they're talking to or making good decisions. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm probably thinking like a mother.
I think we still belong to a generation wherein we've seen a no social media time, and we now I would call myself a social media addict,
generation.
but I've also been in that space wherein there was no Instagram, so I know how it is, and I've enjoyed both. I still enjoy it, but I also know that at the pace that I'm going at, the amount of scrolling that I do in a day is definitely not healthy. So I do want some cap on it. I do want some kind of control, but I think I can't decide if I want to stop it completely or if I just want to give in and enjoy right now and think about the cons later. So yet to find that balance.
I think I strike that balance well, so I don't have that concern, but I have a safety concern for very young kids, because I've seen my younger cousins or my friends' cousins, little babies, 9, 10 years old, being on social media and just looking up videos of God knows what. So that's a concern for me, because there's no regulation such, especially on Instagram. On YouTube, you have YouTube for kids, but Instagram there's nothing. So you're exposed to all kinds of content. They know things that I had no clue about when I was 9, 10 years old. So I'm always surprised when I meet them. So I'm scared about that, but for me, I think I regulate pretty well. I enjoy it a lot. I get to see photos of my school friends getting married, school friends who I haven't spoken with in 4 or 5 years. So I still feel like I'm a part of their life in some sense.
Yeah.
That I'm back to 8th grade. I think we face digital harassment from creepy guys in DMs.
Yeah,
a
so
lot.
the personal messaging feature on Instagram, it lets random people who are not following you also send messages to you and send images to you, But thankfully, Instagram has this feature wherein if a person who's not following you has sent you an image, it blurs the image initially and then it asks you a question whether you want to load the image or not, because the image could be anything. So that does happen to
That
us.
has happened a lot.
Yeah, that happens
On
all the
Just
time.
random people.
Random people.
On Facebook.
And not
on
just images,
Instagram,
just random messages. People saying hi,
You're beautiful.
you're beautiful. Do you want to
Just
maybe be friends?
I just
and
want
you're
to talk.
cute.
Yeah.
So
And how much time do you have to devote to kind of screening these things out?
just never check your.
we've become so indifferent towards it now.
Because it has happened a lot, especially
Yeah.
on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. So
You just ignore that.
yeah, just ignore that.